Hey John, I have really amazing, awesome news. I passed the big test that I took several weeks ago, it was almost a couple months ago now, to head toward my teaching license and certification. Everything it was the big test, and I passed it. I'm so excited. I'm so happy about that. And I'm just sitting here with the Psalms in front of me, and I was like, this is the perfect scriptures, the perfect text to be in, because it's Israel's hymnal. It's Israel. Even Christians, since the church started, have had amazing worship songs taken out of the Book of Psalms. Modern music, modern worship is good, but a lot of the theology and the more, biblical substance is in the older hymns that a lot of churches are coming away from now, and some of the older churches still hold on to. And there certainly is a place every now and then for those when you want to sing, how grateful. I'm going to stop singing because I can't sing. But my point being, the Psalms are made for us to use as tools for worshiping the Lord and praising the Lord for His goodness. Because there's nothing I'm ever going to accomplish in this life that is on my own. It's all God's glory. The end of that. And you know that. You agree with me because you understand the exact same thing. And we covered up to Psalm 120 today. It's been quite a busy year for us. And Psalm 120 is a psalm for the pilgrim. And also refers to a coming war in Israel. You've been watching Israel in the news a lot. And it just makes you wonder what is going on. And like you said earlier today, we know He's coming back to conquer and to judge the earth and reign as a righteous king. We just wish He'd get here and do it a little sooner. It would be really good. So it's, woe is to me, for I sojourn in Meshach, which is the Gentile area, the sons of Noah. I dwell among the tents of Kedar, which would be the children of Ishmael. So it's talking about how Israel is dwelling among people that hate Him. Israel. The nations that hate Israel. And it says, too long my soul have had its dwelling with those who hate peace. I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. And that is the heart of the conflict with the people of Israel against all the people around them. That Israel wants peace, and everyone else seems to just want war. They're not satisfied with peace negotiations and borders. They want to wipe Israel off the map when it comes down to it. And that can never happen because Israel is God's people. So watching what's going to happen is important, and knowing the word and being ahead of it, being ready to explain to other people what's going on. So Psalm 120 is a good reference to a coming war that Israel will face. And Psalm 121 is a view of the hills of Jerusalem. God is our helper. This is one of those psalms that's been made into a song. I lift my eyes up to the mountains. Where does my help come from? Our help comes from God, the maker of everything, the creator of all, and your creator, my creator. And He does not rest. Behold, He who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. So when you're watching the news and you're seeing all the stuff going on with Israel, remember that His faithfulness in this time with His people is an indicator of His faithfulness to you and to me. Because we are worshiping the same God that put Israel in Israel's place, that brought Israel into a nation. So remember that when He said, behold, the one who keeps Israel doesn't slumber nor sleep. He doesn't rest, and He will not rest. Chapter 122 is a psalm for the one who has seen Jerusalem. I was glad when they said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. Our feet are standing within your gates, O Jerusalem. This is verse 6. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May they prosper who love you. May peace be within your walls. So that's why you say, pray for the peace of Israel. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. As the nations around Israel want a piece of Jerusalem, but no. Pray for God to bring peace to His people. And that peace is only going to come through the Messiah, Jesus, when He returns. But even now you can pray. that the war will cease for a while because they have been through it worse than anyone, and it gives us a good example of just God's mercy continually working through his people. 123 is another psalm about the temple. So says, I lift my eyes up to you who are enthroned in the heavens. Behold, as the eyes of the servant looks to the hand of his master, as the eyes of a maid looks to the hand of her mistress, so the eyes look to the Lord our God until he be gracious to us. See, I mentioned this when I talked about that show that they have in Britain with the Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey, not downtown. Downton Abbey. And it really is a good example of how the culture was in that time, where the butlers and the maids and ladies' maids would look to the aristocrats in the house and wait for orders, wait for commands, wait to listen. That is how our relationship is to be with God, listening and being ready for when he calls us to something, for when he says, now is the time to act. Go ahead and do this now. Now is it. Be gracious to us, O Lord. I love that. And this is, are your eyes looking to God, or are they looking to the clock for the end of the day? Are they looking to your boss? Are you listening to what you're supposed to do for your daily work? Nobody wants to hear this. I don't want to hear this, but diligence in workmanship, in a job, in a task that you've been given, that you're being paid for, especially, even the ones that you're not being paid for, doing it unto God means that you're giving your best in your place of work, in any place that you have been called to be in, any ministry, any job, any profession. You're called to give that job the same attention you'd give God. You should give God the same kind of attention that a maidservant or a manservant, pays attention to the Lord of the house when they're looking for instructions. So Psalm 123 is a good psalm for reminding yourself on Monday morning who is boss and who's in charge ultimately. Chapter 124, divine deliverance for his people, for Israel, the Creator. Our help is in the name of the Lord who made the heavens and the earth. Again, the Psalms refer to God as Creator quite a bit, reminding us to trust him as Creator. Psalm 125, those who trust in the Lord. Those who trust in the Lord, see, trusting in him. Jesus is our rock. 126, a psalm of joy, of returning. The people of Israel returning from their captivity. Psalm 127, talking about vanity, building something without God. Anything that you attempt to do, any of your plans, any of your desires that you attempt to set up, doing so without God is futile. And that's what he's saying. And he is aware. He says, unless the Lord guards the city, the watchmen keep awake in vain. Behold, children are a gift to the Lord. Like the fruit of the womb is a reward. Like arrows in the hand of a warrior, so are children to one's youth. See, children are a gift from God. Children are our history, our future history. We need to impart in them, and this is one reason why I want to be a teacher so much, is because we need to impart in them the lessons that we learn from history and from life, and advancements in science and mathematics and English and all that. And I have great respect for history and for the things that we can learn from it. The Bible is not just a history book, but there is a lot of history in it, because his story, God's story dealing with mankind, involves people that lived in historical moments and events in time. So there's a lot of history in here, but it's a love story, and we've learned that a lot. I'm going to stop with chapter 1 with Psalm 127 and start with 128 in the next video. My friends, all of my friends, my dear friends, thank you for praying for me and for the test that I took. I'm so excited that I passed it. Now I've got 2 more years of classes and teaching practicum to go through, and all this can be an exciting ride. And just pray that we continue to put God first above all things, glorify his name above all else. Good day, my friends. Shalom. And again, pray for the peace of Israel, because the word of God says that he will grant peace to those who love Israel. Good night.